Welcome back to the corner of the internet where logic goes on vacation and common sense takes a nap. Today's episode kicks off with a man who swallowed 39 coins and 37 magnets because apparently bodybuilding with actual effort was just too mainstream. Spoiler, his digestive system disagreed. And from there, oh, it only gets better. We've got DIY disasters, physics denying stunts, and enough creative misjudgments to make your toaster look like a genius. So grab a snack, preferably not metallic, and buckle up for 24 gloriously bad decisions that somehow didn't make the Darwin Awards cut, but really wanted to. Number 1. First up, we've got the coin plus magnet diet fiasco of 2024, straight out of the bodybuilding scene. Picture this. A gym bro, let's call him Chad, who's obsessed with getting swole. Chad hears a rumor on some sketchy Reddit thread that zinc is the secret sauce for Hulk-level gains. But instead of popping a multivitamin like a normal person, Chad decides to go full mad scientist. He swallows, get this, 39 coins and 37 magnets, thinking the zinc in the coins will supercharge his muscles. Why the magnets? Who knows, maybe he thought they'd make his biceps magnetic to the ladies. Spoiler alert, his stomach wasn't a chemistry lab. The coins and magnets threw a wild party in his gut, sticking together like a bad Tinder date and causing some serious intestinal chaos. Doctors had to step in, and Chad's dreams of Mr. Olympia turned into a long recovery and a new nickname, Magnet Man. Lesson here? Leave the science experiments to folks with lab coats, not lifting gloves. Number 2. Next, let's take a deep dive, literally, into the Lithium Submarine CEO implosion of 2023. Enter Stockton Rush, the big shot CEO of OceanGate, who thought he could revolutionize deep-sea tourism with a submersible that looked like a DIY project from a sci-fi garage sale. This thing, called the Titan, was steered with an Xbox controller, because nothing screams safe ocean exploration like a gaming joystick. Stockton ignored a chorus of experts warning that his carbon fiber sub was a pressure cooker disaster waiting to happen. Picture him waving off concerns like, "Psh, I've got this. It's just the Atlantic Ocean." On June 18th, 2023, he piloted the Titan with 4 passengers to visit the Titanic wreck, 12,500 feet down. About 90 minutes in, the sub hit a snag, literally and figuratively, and got trapped in a catastrophic situation. The experimental design couldn't handle the ocean's crushing pressure, and the mission ended in tragedy. Moral of the story: when experts say, don't do it, maybe don't treat the ocean like your personal Xbox playground. Number 3. Now let's fire up the grill for the shotgun BBQ incident. Imagine a backyard bash, beers flowing, country music blaring, and one guy, let's call him Bubba, who decides to take the party to the next level. Bubba's got a brilliant idea. Why open a beer can the boring way when you can use a shotgun for some long-distance fizz? He sets up a beer can on a stump, grabs his trusty scattergun, and aims to blast it open from across the yard. Sounds like a viral TikTok moment, right? Wrong. The plan goes south faster than a NASCAR pit stop. The shotgun's kickback, or maybe Bubba's aim, spoiled by a few too many cold ones, turns the stunt into a total fiasco. The beer can survive, but Bubba's pride and a good chunk of his BBQ cred don't. He ends up with a trip to the ER and a story that's the talk of every tailgate in town. Pro tip: shotguns are for hunting, not happy hour. Stick to a bottle opener. Number 4. Switching gears, we've got the Substation Electrocute Saga, where a thrill seeker, let's name him Sparky, decides to play electrician at a power substation. Sparky, probably inspired by too many YouTube stunt videos, thinks climbing a transformer building to test live wires is a great way to spice up his weekend. Spoiler: high voltage electricity doesn't care about your influencer dreams. He scales the fence, ignoring every warning sign that screams, "Danger, you absolute walnut." Once inside, he gets up close and personal with wires carrying enough juice to power a small city. The result? A shocking encounter that lands him in the hospital. Crispy and regretting every life choice. Electricity isn't a toy, folks. It's like inviting a lightning bolt to a fistfight. If you're not a trained electrician, stay far away from anything that hums with voltage. Number 5. Next, the paintball balloon. Death. A case so absurd it sounds like a rejected movie script. Meet Jake, a guy who thinks paintball is too tame unless you crank it to 11. Jake's at a paintball field, probably hyped up on energy drinks, and decides to one-up everyone. His genius plan? Tie a balloon to his helmet and let his buddies shoot at it like some kind of human piñata. What could go wrong, right? Well, aiming at a balloon bobbing on Jake's noggin at close range with a paintball gun isn't exactly precision surgery. One poorly aimed shot, or maybe Jake's sudden head bob, turns the game into a painful lesson in physics. The balloon pops, Jake's pride pops, and he's left with a noggin that looks like a Jackson Pollock painting and a trip to the medic. Paintball is fun, but your head isn't a target range. Wear your gear, follow the rules, and maybe don't turn yourself into a carnival game. Number 6. Next, we've got the roof chainsaw carving catastrophe. Picture this. A guy, let's call him Rusty, decides his beat-up sedan needs some flair. Forget a new paint job or some fancy rims. Rusty's got a vision for automotive art. He climbs onto the roof of his car with a chainsaw, thinking he'll carve a masterpiece, maybe a bald eagle or his initials. Yeah, right. Chainsaws aren't exactly precision tools, and car roofs aren't canvas. The second he fires up that buzzing beast, it's like trying to ride a bucking bronco. The chainsaw bounces, slips, and turns Rusty's dream into a nightmare. Sparks fly. The roof's a mangled mess. And Rusty's lucky to limp away with just a bruised ego and a car that looks like it lost a fight with a lawnmower. Moral of the story? If you want to customize your ride, stick to decals, not power tools. Number 7. Next, let's talk about the DIY battery flask fiasco. Enter Jimmy, a guy who fancies himself a survivalist with a side of hipster. Jimmy finds an old car battery in his garage and thinks, "Hey, why buy a flask when I can make one?" He cracks open the battery shell, ignoring the fact that it's basically a chemical bomb. Surprise, surprise! Car batteries are filled with sulfuric acid, not artisanal moonshine. As he tries to hollow it out for his cool new flask, acid splashes everywhere, turning his workshop into a hazmat zone. His clothes dissolve faster than his dreams, and he's rushing to the ER with burns that scream, "Bad idea!" Jimmy's lucky he didn't end up worse, but his DIY dreams are toast. Pro tip: batteries are for powering cars, not your whiskey. Leave crafting to Etsy. Number 8. Now, let's mosey over to the cow mishandling incident. Meet Chad, a wannabe social media star who thinks riding a cow will get him viral fame. He's out in a field, camera rolling, ready to be the next cowboy influencer. Chad climbs onto a cow because, cows are totally chill with being ridden like horses. Spoiler, they're not. This cow, let's call her Bessie, is having none of it. The second Chad's on her back, Bessie delivers some good old farmyard justice. She bucks, spins, and sends Chad flying into a pile of something you don't want to land in. His phone still recording as he limps away, pride shattered and probably a few bones too. The video gets views, all right, but not for the reasons Chad hoped. Lesson learned? Cows aren't your ticket to TikTok stardom. Stick to cat videos. Number 9. Then we've got the flammable hospital lotion disaster. Picture this guy, let's call him Dave, laid up in a hospital bed, slathered in some medical lotion that's supposed to help his skin. The nurse, clear as day, says, "No smoking, this stuff's flammable." Dave, being the rebel he thinks he is, figures one quick cigarette won't hurt. Wrong move, buddy. He lights up, and that lotion turns his bed into a mini 4th of July show. Sparks fly, alarms blare, and the hospital room's suddenly a scene from an action flick. Dave's whisked to the burn unit, regretting every puff while the staff put out the flames. Hospitals have rules for a reason, folks. When they say no smoking, it's not a suggestion. Leave the lighter at home. Number 10. We've got the Transformer lick. A story so wild it sounds like a dare gone wrong. Enter Sparky, a guy chasing clout by filming himself doing the dumbest thing imaginable. Licking a power transformer. Yeah, you heard that right. He sees a humming, high-voltage transformer box and thinks, "This'll get me likes." With his phone recording, Sparky leans in and gives it a big ol' lick, like it's an ice cream cone. Big surprise. Electricity doesn't play nice. The jolt hits him faster than a bad Yelp review, and he's zapped into next week. Sparky's lucky to walk away, but his viral dreams are fried, along with his taste buds. Moral here? Power transformers aren't lollipops. If you want internet fame, try a dance challenge instead. Number 11. And now, we've got the beekeeping mass breach of epic proportions. Picture our guy, let's call him Buzz, who fancies himself a backyard beekeeper. He's got his suit, his smoker, and dreams of artisanal honey to impress the farmer's market crowd. But mid-swarm, with 400 bees buzzing like a tiny angry orchestra, Buzz decides his protective mask is too hot and yanks it off. Spoiler, bees don't care about your comfort. Those 400 stingers turn his face into a pincushion faster than you can say, "Bad idea." Buzz is left swollen, stinging, and sprinting for the ER, learning the hard way that beekeeping isn't a DIY spa day. Pro tip, keep the mask on unless you want to star in a horror flick called Attack of the Angry Bees. Bees are nature's tiny bouncers. Don't mess with their vibe. Number 12. Next, let's roll into the bus superhero rescue fiasco. Meet Jake, a guy who's watched one too many superhero movies and thinks he's the next Captain America. Picture him at a busy intersection, spotting a city bus barreling down the road a bit too fast. Instead of, staying on the sidewalk like a normal person, Jake decides he's gonna save the day. He steps into the street, plants his feet, and tries to stop the bus with his bare hands, like he's auditioning for an Avengers spinoff. Surprise! Surprise! Buses don't negotiate with wannabe heroes. Jake's bold move lands him in a world of hurt, with the bus winning the bet and Jake limping away with a bruised ego and a body to match. Morale here? Leave the superhero stunts to CGI and stick to calling 911 if you see trouble. Number 13. Now, we've got the dropped gun clown in Catastrophe. Imagine our buddy, let's call him Joey, perched in a tree like a wannabe action hero, ready to pull off the prank of the century. He's got a loaded gun, because naturally, That's the perfect prop for a laugh. Joey's plan is to spook his pals below with some fake tough guy vibes. But here's the kicker. While he's waving his piece around, playing Rambo, the gun slips from his sweaty grip. It tumbles through the branches, and let's just say gravity isn't his friend. The outcome's about as pleasant as stepping on a Lego in the dark. Joey's left with a bruised ego, a trashed prank, and a trip to the ER. Morale of the story? Guns aren't toys and trees aren't stages. If you're gonna clown, maybe stick to a whoopee cushion. Number 14. Then we've got the power punch proving fatal Saga, where a factory worker, let's call him Mike, decides to flex his machismo in the worst way possible. Mike's working the assembly line, surrounded by heavy machinery, but he's more focused on impressing his coworkers than following safety protocols. He spots a massive power press, the kind that can flatten metal like it's Play-Doh, and thinks, I bet I can punch that faster than it moves. Spoiler, machines don't care about your ego. Mike's show-off punch gets his hand caught in the press, and let's just say his arm doesn't come out looking like it used to. He's rushed to the hospital, his tough guy rep in tatters, and his hand in worse shape. Factory equipment isn't a carnival game, folks. Keep your fist to yourself and follow the safety manual. Number 15. We up with a walking on a lake? Disaster, starring Dave, a guy who thinks he's got winter all figured out. It's a chilly day, and Dave's eyeing a frozen lake near his house, convinced it's solid enough for a stroll. Never mind the thin ice signs or the fact that it's been above freezing all week. Dave's channeling his inner polar explorer, strutting out onto the ice like he's on a catwalk. Big surprise. The ice cracks faster than his confidence, and Dave plunges into the freezing water below. He's left shivering, soaked, and scrambling for help, with hypothermia giving him a harsh reality check. Morale of the story? Ice isn't a dance floor. Check conditions, or you'll be taking an unplanned polar dip. Number 16. Next, let's jolt into the caffeine overdose disaster. Meet Chad, a guy who thinks energy drinks are for amateurs and decides to take caffeine to a whole new level. Chad's heard that caffeine can boost your workout, so he skips the coffee shop and goes full mad scientist, injecting what can only be described as an apocalyptic dose of caffeine straight into his system. His heart, not thrilled about this Red Bull remix, decides it's had enough and throws in the towel. Chad's left gasping, his gym dreams fading faster than his pulse. He's rushed to the hospital, where doctors probably gave him a lecture longer than a CVS receipt. Lesson here: caffeine's great in moderation, but needles and energy boosts don't mix. Stick to a latte, not a lab experiment. Number 17. Now let's wing it to the clay pigeon archery fail. Picture this guy, let's call him Hunter, who's bored with regular clay pigeon shooting and wants to spice things up. Instead of using a standard target launcher, Hunter spots a live owl perched nearby and thinks, hey, that's a natural skeet machine. Spoiler, owls aren't down for this game. He grabs his bow, takes aim, and let's just say the owl's not the one regretting this decision. The bird takes off, Hunter's arrow goes wild, and he ends up with a face full of feathers and a whole lot of regret. The owl's fine, but Hunter's pride, and maybe a few body parts, aren't. Wildlife isn't your personal arcade, folks. Stick to clay discs, not cranky birds. Number 18. Then we've got the stunt drone selfie saga, starring Mike, a selfie enthusiast chasing that perfect Instagram shot. Mike's got a shiny new drone, buzzing around like his personal paparazzi. He's posing in front of a scenic backdrop, directing the drone to capture his best angles. But Mike's not exactly a drone pilot pro, and he sends his high-tech toy straight into a power line. Sparks fly like a 4th of July finale, and Mike's left with a fried drone, a singed ego, and zero luck getting that viral post. He's lucky to walk away without a full-on barbecue, but his influencer dreams are toast. Pro tip, power lines and drones don't play nice. If you want epic selfies, maybe just use a stick, not a flying robot. Number 19. We paddle into the kamikaze Kayaker Catastrophe. Enter Dave, a YouTube wannabe who thinks kayaking in front of a massive ferry is the key to internet fame. Dave's out on the water, camera rolling, aiming for a confident shot that'll rack up the views. He paddles right into the path of a ferry because, you know, a 500-ton boat is just a minor obstacle. The ferry doesn't flinch, and Dave's kayak gets a front row seat to Newton's laws of motion. The collision sends him spinning, his camera sinking faster than his subscriber count. Dave's hauled out of the water, soggy and humbled, with his YouTube dreams taking a deep dive. Moral of the story? Ferries aren't props for your vlog. Stay clear of shipping lanes unless you want to be the star of a rescue reel. Number 20. We've got the DIY explosive fishing fail, starring our pal Bubba, who thinks he's the next big thing in fishing. Forget rods and reels. Bubba's got a stick of dynamite in a dream. He's out by the lake ready to bag a boatload of fish in one go. His plan: toss a lit stick of dynamite into a bucket, chuck it into the water, and watch the fish float up like a buffet. Genius, right? Except Bubba's aim is about as good as a stormtrooper's. The bucket rolls back toward him, and before he can say, oops, it goes boom right in his face. Sparks fly, the bucket's toast, and Bubba's left with singed eyebrows and a trip to the ER. His fishing haul? 0 fish, 1 massive regret. Pro tip: dynamite's not a fishing lure. Stick to worms, not explosions. Number 21. Next, let's spark things up with the prop arc safety fail. Meet Chad, a guy who sees a welding arc orcs and thinks that's a perfect selfie backdrop. Chad's at a workshop surrounded by pros and goggles and gear, but he's too cool for safety. He whips out his phone, aims for that Instagram glow, and gets up close with an energized welding arc, sans protective eyewear. The blinding light and heat give his eyes a sizzle that's less viral post and more brain boil. Chad's left blinking through tears, his selfie dreams fried, and a doctor visit that's probably longer than his social media career. Pro tip: welding arcs are for metal, not selfies. Grab some goggles or stick to snapping pics of your lunch. Number 22. Now, let's slide into the Avalanche Alaskan disaster. Meet other Chad, a thrill seeker in Alaska who's all about that Instagram life. He's hiking in a known avalanche zone, signs screaming, "Stay out," like a grumpy park ranger. But Chad's got a selfie stick and a mission to get that perfect snow-capped shot. He sets up his phone, strikes a pose, and right on cue, the mountain decides it wants in on the photo. An avalanche roars down, turning Chad's selfie sesh into a snowy nightmare. He's swept away, his phone probably still snapping pics as he tumbles. Rescuers haul him out, frostbitten and humbled, with a story that's more survival fail than social media win. Moral here? Avalanche zones aren't photo studios. Check the signs, or you'll be the one getting framed. Number 23. Then we've got the Snowball Avalanche, or whatever you'd call this hot mess. Picture Dave, a guy who thinks chucking snowballs off a cliff is peak winter fun. He's up in the mountains, lobbing snowballs like he's in a rom-com montage, ignoring the fact that he's standing on a precarious ledge. One overzealous throw, and Dave's balance goes bye-bye. He slips, tumbles after his snowballs, and ends up in a chasm, looking like a human snowball himself. Rescuers fish him out, but his pride's buried deeper than the snow. Cliffs and snowballs don't mix, folks. If you want to play winter games, build a snowman, not a one-way ticket to a crevasse. Number 24. Finally, we wrap up with the sand surfing fiasco. Enter Mike, a dude who sees a massive sand dune and a 40 mph windstorm and thinks, perfect day for boogie boarding. He grabs his board, probably picturing himself as a desert surfer straight out of a music video. But dunes aren't oceans, and wind like that turns sand into a gritty tornado. Mike launches down the dune only to get flipped, spun, and rolled like a human tumbleweed. By the time he stops, he's a sandy mess, with his board in pieces and his cool factor buried under a pile of regret. He limps away, probably coughing up sand for days. Lesson learned? Boogie boards are for waves, not windstorms. If you want to surf, hit the beach, not the desert. And that's a wrap on 24 ways humans prove that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. If any of these made you feel just a little bit smarter today, congrats. You're already ahead of the game. Got your own story of questionable brilliance? Drop it in the comments below. If we get enough, we might just feature your tale of glorious regret in a future video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next round of beautifully avoidable disasters. Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and please, don't lick Transformers.